Blackburn 5-0. The commentator at Villa Park is Clive Tilsley.
It's the time of the year for dropping in on old friends. There are a few people in football with more friends than Ron Atkinson. Mind you, much has changed in the years since he was the Villa manager. Today's team contains only 2 Atkinson signings. Irish skipper Andy Townsend, still not quite over a knee injury, is only a substitute today, although Paul McGrath is back from Anfield in one piece. 7 of that team have been bought by Atkinson's successor Brian Little. Mind you, 7 of today's Coventry lineup have been brought in since Big Ron took over there in February. It would have been more, but new loan acquisition Chris White is suspended and Chris Coleman joined Blackburn instead. Still, 4 changes from the side that beat Blackburn so well last Saturday, including a debut for 20-year-old Noel Whelan, a £2 million buy from Leeds United. That equals the Coventry club transfer record. Paul Alcock is today's referee. Coventry City have never, ever won at Villa Park in 60 years of trying. Gareth Southgate back in the Villa defence today after a glimpse of the England midfield on Wednesday. You could say Villa have made a slow start because in this fixture at Coventry in September they were already 1 up. Dwight York scored in 15 seconds that day. Fastest goal in the Premiership so far this season. Hugo Ekiog is captaining Aston Villa in the absence of Andy Townsend and Steve Staunton. Coventry lifted themselves just off the bottom with those 5 glorious goals against Blackburn last weekend. Villa have scored a grand total of 5 in their last 6 games. Nonetheless, they're title contenders after flirting so dangerously with relegation themselves last season. Really has been all change in these parts. Paul Williams just there ahead of Savo Milosevic. Telfer looking for Unlove and getting it back. Southgate with Unlove, and the ball beats them both. Dublin this time for Hall. Mark Draper. One of those introductory tackles from Kevin Richardson, and the referee quickly introduces the yellow card. Kevin Richardson back on familiar ground, and Mark Draper very quickly on the ground. Milosevic in pursuit, he's got him behind Williams. Savo Milosevic held up by Filan and cleared by Williams. Southgate turning it back in, but the chance had already come and gone for the big serve. This is his 11th match for Aston Villa here at Villa Park, and he's still to score for the club here at Villa Park. It was an awkward height. Milosevic's touch letting him down. Hall though straight to Taylor, now Draper. Well, Wright did offer to make a forward run, then checked. Clearance by Boost. Draper winning it fairly. Johnson. Oh, Milosevic wanted to take it. Johnson says, I'll have it. A goal in 12 minutes from Tommy Johnson for Aston Villa. And Savo Milosevic almost took it off him. Johnson made the break inside. That's where the big number 9 says, well, I'll have it if you want. And Johnson said, get out of my way. Thumping finish. Not the best of defending, you'd have to say. He ran past a lot of people. Tommy Johnson, who got in the side because of an initial injury to Andy Townsend, has now scored 4 goals in the 8 games since Brian Little recalled him. Whelan. Nicely done. Hall has got beyond Southgate. Oh, he went for glory and he had 3 in support. A little bit rash there. Marcus Hall, 19 years of age. And well, it's the confidence of youth, I suppose, but he's getting a little bit of earache from one or two of his senior colleagues. Milosevic, oh, he was held there by Williams, he's pushed it to Johnson anyway, and York, and the flag's up, it won't count. No goal. Dwight York was offside, but I'll tell you what, Aston Villa might have better claims for a penalty. Because as Savo Milosevic turned Williams there, I'm almost certain there was a bit of shirt pulling going on just there, and it really put him off his stride. Johnson miscued and York had got beyond the last defender, and that's why the flag went up. Johnson, Richardson came in late, Johnson didn't like it. Referee happy to give the game a chance. Villa in possession. Ekiok, Johnson again. Now Wright. A little bit isolated there. Unlove got in the challenge. Yellow card shown to Kevin Richardson. He's off. Booked in the opening moments for flying challenge on Mark Draper. Kevin Richardson, the former Aston Villa player, has now been dismissed by the referee. I think what happened there was that Paul Alcock played an advantage when Richardson came in with a headstrong challenge on Johnson, clocked that, and when play stopped, out came the yellow card. Richardson's second. Coventry's 4th dismissal in the last month. Free kick's been given. Coventry did produce a sterling performance with 9 men against Wimbledon recently. Shaw with a free kick, headed by McGrath. If there's anybody on the field who looks like he's had a week off, it's Paul McGrath. Draper on to Milosevic, only Johnson in the middle for now. Taylor's arriving. It's a useful ball from Milosevic. Filan didn't fancy it, just lost its flight a little bit. Hall hooked it away. Alan Wright, Mark Draper, Andy Townsend, Hugo Ekiok. Ekiok has come off Filan and he's recovered. It was a wicked cross in the first place, and then a well-struck shot by Ekiok, and Filan rode his luck a little bit on both occasions. 2 Australian goalkeepers on view today, John Filan for Coventry, Mark Bosnich, who was actually in the same Olympic squad with Filan in Barcelona at the other end of the field for Aston Villa. Ball could only hold Milosevic up. Well, you can't pretend he's made a dramatic impact in the English game. And at times it's been a real struggle for him in truth, but 22 years of age and big transfer fee, and if only he could break his duck here at Villa Park. At least Aston Villa have done that. The last 3 fixtures between these two here have been goalless. We knew it couldn't last. Tommy Johnson made sure of that. The other major incident of the first half, the dismissal of the former Aston Villa skipper Kevin Richardson for a second yellow card by Paul Alcock just before the break. 1-0 the home side lead. A Changing goal for Aston Villa at half-time. Nigel Spink making his first appearance of the season because Mark Bosnich has picked up a hamstring injury. Ron Atkinson's League Cup success with Aston Villa last year was the first major trophy that the West Midlands had seen since Coventry's FA Cup triumph in 1987. Before that, you have to go back to Villa's European Cup win of '82. Nigel Spink and all that. So much potential around if you visit St Andrews or Molineux, for instance, but so little for the fans here of late. Gary Charles trying to provide more for the Aston Villa fans. Fallon couldn't hold it in, and Milosevic couldn't force it in. Well, you are beginning to wonder, and he is certainly beginning to wonder when he's going to score a goal here. John Fallon, it was awkward for him. He had one of his own defenders distracting him, but he couldn't hold it. At least he made himself big enough to prevent Milosevic from scoring, but it was a rather unconvincing effort. Milosevic is there again, came off Boos. Hooked away as far. It's Townsend who will take another throw. McGrath. Right. Milosevic. Tackled by Whelan. McGrath having a go. That's still rising. Draper picking up the threads again, finding Charles more convincingly this time. Headed by Noel Whelan deep in defence. Tommy Johnson. It's a good cross. Milosevic! Yes! At long, long last, Savo Milosevic makes himself at home at Aston Villa. Let's get it right, it's far from his first goal for the club, but it is his first goal for the club here in front of the home fans. What a good cross by Johnson, beat Fallon all ends up, and Milosevic was there when it counted. Well, he arrived setting himself the grand target of 25 goals a season. That was his average with Partizan Belgrade, his last club. And in his 11th match for the club here at Villa Park, he has scored his 6th goal for the club in total. Coventry City now attacking the end behind which most of their own supporters are gathered. Of course, the only Premiership derby in the West Midlands. Goes at 2-0, the longer the odds against Coventry comeback. Whelan. Big appeals for a little bit of holding there from behind the goal. Solarco finds Telford. Dublin's there, and that's 2-1. Dion Dublin halves the deficit and revives Coventry City's interest in the game. And he is very, very hot at the moment. 9 goals in 9 games since he came back from injury. Not a very good cross. Ekior couldn't cut it out. And Dublin, behind the Aston Villa central defenders, stoops to conquer. 2-1. Just got a little nudge there from Southgate. Johnson's on his way back from offside, no flag. This is Townsend. Chance for a Coventry break. Marcus Hall still full of running. McGrath's tackle impeccable again. Johnson. Taking Williams on for pace. Keogh, Taylor, Draper, Milosevic. Now he started, he's not going to stop. 2 for Savo Milosevic, 3 for a delighted Aston Villa and their fans. And Derby Day belongs to the man from Belgrade. He scored 2 at Coventry in the first meeting in September, but from that kind of service from Mark Draper, the big man really couldn't miss. And all the words of deliberation and debate that have been written about Aston Villa's club record signing in the last 2 or 3 months, Milosevic has come up with the goods today. He's got a team full of potential goal scorers, and he really must have fancied his chances there when Dion Dublin pulled one back. It's a long, long way back to come again for Coventry. Shaw on by Whelan. He's turning it on now, look at that. Alan Wright got past Dunlop. Milosevic! Oh, I think his heart was just racing. He set it up beautifully. And just a calm stroke of the ball, that's all he was looking for. If you're looking for a level-headed manager, he's your man. He's known non-league and he's known the big league now. He's known promotion and relegation. He's been sacked. Some would say he's been poached. But he's the sort who just seems to meet triumph and disaster with the same quiet courtesy. Even he getting a little bit aerated about Coventry City's refusal to lie down in this game. Charles. Pressure is there from Dublin. Pickering running into trouble in the space of Townsend and Milosevic. He's got his hat-trick. He's filled his boots today, all right. Savo Milosevic makes it 4-1 for Aston Villa and 3 for him. Pickering just taking a chance too many in pursuit of the game. Milosevic calmly lifting the ball beyond John Filan into the far corner. And who knows what a landmark this could prove to be in the Aston Villa career of this young 22-year-old from Serbia. Derby victories always raise the feel-good factor, and nobody in town will feel better than Savo Milosevic tonight. Aston Villa's record and rather speculative signing has struck gold at Villa Park for the first time. Another unhappy reunion for Ron Atkinson. The happy faces in the West Midlands tonight belong to Aston Villa fans, players, and maybe even tonight their manager too. 4-1 winners.
It's nice to win. I mean, we like winning. There's different ways to win football matches. And today it's probably most pleasing because Savo scored 3 and everybody's been worried for him lately, and he missed a couple early doors, so we were all getting a bit anxious. Yeah, it's good to win. It's nice to get our first double of the season and find ourselves roughly halfway now in 4th place, so that's steady improvement from last season.
Savo, is this your best day in England yet?
Yeah, of course. It's my best day in England. I'm very satisfied, very confident with this game. We played tremendous today.
We've had 4 players sent off in 2 weeks now. I don't get players sent off normally. I've had clubs that we know have players sent off, and yet only one of them has been for over-aggressive play. Now, to be fair, Rico today, he's been 2 innocuous challenges, maybe bookable, but what's ironic, you know, is he's come off with a broken nose and stud marks down his back.
Well, we've seen super subs over the years. Today we saw super Serb, and he was
Very good.
outstanding, wasn't he, Milosevic? Hmm?
He was. He's been under pressure a lot at Villa Park. It's not an easy ground to score. I've never scored there, but he eventually did it today. But early on in the game, it did look like it might be one of those days. This is a long ball from Southgate through the middle. Some shocking defending, as you can see. Milosevic is there circled, and that's Williams and Boost there in the middle. But it came through, and he's not that comfortable on his right foot, and he missed that particular chance. And then at the start of the second half, he had a wonderful opportunity to break his duck at Villa Park. Ball bounces out, tries to twist around with his left foot when just a little lob with the right would have seen him score. But he would be relieved with this one. Good cross, perhaps the keeper should have got it, but a terrific header. And then his confidence, he was a different player. All of a sudden, bad defending, not quite a Dutch build-up, but certainly the finish was sort of a la Kluivert. And he just looked a different player after the first goal went in. He was trying things, he was running with the ball, and I picked this out as the best bit of play, probably of the whole match by anybody. Wonderful pass with the outside of his foot there to Alan Wright, and he gets back on the end of it, and if he'd used his right foot here, he'd have probably missed as well, because he clearly can't use it.
The fans would say, you pay £3.5 million for a player, he would be able to use his right foot.
He'd probably pay 7 million if he could. More expensive.
Players who can't
No,
use both
but
foots is what people
yeah,
say.
I mean, there are certain players that try as they can, they just cannot use their other foot, and they're often more gifted with one foot than some players are with 2. But I'm sure he's worked on it. I mean, I would never understand a player that didn't. You get the odd.
Did you work on it?
Oh, I had to. I mean, I was not particularly good at all with my left foot, but I worked hard on it over the years, and it became sort of. It got to the stage where I'd have a go with it, and I'd sooner have a go with that than trying to accommodate with the right foot.
Oh, Trevor there was 2-footed.
Oh, Trevor,
thanks to my dad when I was 5 or 6, he said use both feet. You've got to do it young. You've got to do it young. I mean, probably Gary can't remember now, but I mean, you know, you've got to do it in your primary years, because once you leave primary school, it's too late. Your skills are bedded down.
Your dad started you off using the
5,
other
6
foot.
or 7 is the time you've got to start kicking with, because you're too young to have got into the habits of being one foot.
And in the end, were you as confident with the left as you were with the right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought I was left-footed. My natural foot was always my right, but because I was working 5, 6, or 7, once I started playing sort of 11-a-sided games at 8 or 9, I used to kick with whichever foot it came to, and it's only done at a very young age. Though.
My dad used to tie my right leg to a chair and make me kick with the left.
Yeah, but that's for other reasons.
Did your dad work on your heading? Did your dad work on your heading, Trevor? Did Dad work on your heading?